All right, we'll call the meeting to order for the Eddystone Borough Council meeting for May 11th, 2020. Ms. Jones, could you do the roll call, please?
Yes. Councilman Sigda.
Here.
Councilwoman Gross.
Here.
Councilman Wilson.
Here.
President Stewart.
Here.
Vice President Yanezi.
Here.
Councilman Sprague.
Here.
Councilwoman Reeves.
Here.
Mayor Reeves.
Here.
Thank you.
Pastor Charlie, would you be so kind as to lead us in prayer before we get started?
Be honored to. Lord of us all, we thank you for the technology that allows us to come together even while we're apart. We ask your blessing on all of us gathered here virtually and on our community. It's been a long haul and it's continuing to be. And we know that people are getting frustrated and anxious and wondering when it's all going to end. But we do know that you have a plan for it all. We are in your hands and we trust you to give us the strength and the comfort we need to get through this. We ask for one more thing. We also ask that you give us a spirit of patience. Help us to remember, no matter how frayed our nerves are, help us to be patient with one another and to practice kindness always. This we pray this evening. Amen.
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 Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Council did meet this evening in executive session at 6 o'clock. At the 6 o'clock meeting, we were able to have a discussion on the updates of where we are with our financial audits. Also got a briefing from our solicitor regarding ongoing litigation. And we had some discussions regarding the borough's planning of future events and how our future events would be impacted by the current COVID-19 pandemic. This evening, Councilor Yanuzzi has invited Kim Johnson. Ms. Johnson's asked to address council on the issue of mental health and look at the seeking council's support to actually form a citizens committee specifically geared towards the mental health of our citizens in Eddystone. So Ms. Johnson, we'll give you the floor, followed by any questions or comments by the members of council.
Hi, my name is Kimmy Johnson. First, I'd like to thank council for giving me the opportunity to speak about mental health in my story. I was a resident of Eddystone for 14 years until I recently moved. Eddystone has and will always hold a special place in my heart. Like many people, it's where I grew up. Some of you may know this already, but the month of May is Mental Health Awareness Month. The month of May has held quite importance to me since it's also the month in which my brother, Timmy Gunning, who was also a resident of Eddystone, died from suicide almost 2 years ago. I myself have had my own battles with mental health, but since losing my brother, it has opened my eyes and I have set out to accomplish some goals. My goals are to spread awareness, prevent the tragedy of losing a loved one or anyone to suicide, and to give resources to those who are struggling with their mental health or to those who have been affected by suicide. Mental illness and suicide affect many people all over. It doesn't discriminate. With the COVID-19 pandemic currently happening, it's affecting people's mental health, those with pre-existing mental illnesses and those without. I think it's important to implement something that will give resources and support to the residents of Eddystone so that no one else has to experience the same tragedy that I have. 1 in 4 people in the world will be affected by mental or neurological disorders at some point in their lives. And you might not know it, but a neighbor, friend, or relative could be struggling. Let's help prevent suicide in Eddystone. I'd like to ask Eddystone Borough Council to provide resources to those in the community who are suffering through their power of local government and create a citizens committee to deal with the subject of mental health. Thank you.
Thank you, Kimmy. So when Kimmy approached me, we had a little bit of a discussion, and we are of the understanding that municipal government is the most important form of government, and we think that society itself has been dealing with mental health on such a higher level, like the federal level, and we think that maybe trying something new by providing resources at no cost to the borough would be appropriate. And on top of that, we think that the community, that the Citizens Committee and would know best how to deal with its own citizens. So for instance, Radnor would have a different way of dealing with mental health issues than, say, Eddystone. So we think that if trying it on a local level to provide resources, basically the citizens would decide on how the committee would present itself to the community. We feel that providing resources is a good first step to preventing the tragedy of suicide from happening to anybody in Eddystone again, and that's our goal. So, but the committee itself would deal with things such as drug addiction. I know that we are having some concerns in regards to the it's going to be located there. The committee would deal with situations like that. So I'm going to make a motion to create a mental health committee underneath the committee that I represent, like the council committee that I represent and or that I chair, and allow the citizens of Eddystone to be able to provide the help that everyone may need at one point.
I'll second it.
I think we'll save the motion to the time where we're actually taking action items this evening. Peter, just as a procedural issue, I know that the council committees, a lot are dictated through borough code, but I think citizens committees, we have a lot of latitude. Just so that we're following proper procedure, is it as simple as council approving the creation of a citizens committee, or do we need to do a resolution?
A motion first.
What steps that would need to be taken?
Sure. I mean, it's a citizens committee, so it's not defined by the borough code, and a simple motion tonight would be sufficient.
I did second that.
Yeah, Dawn, I'm sorry, Beth, we're gonna wait until the end of the
Okay.
meeting, until the tail part of the meeting. Does council
Thank you,
have any
Beth.
questions for Kim?
Yes, I do. I know this is near and dear to your heart, but I just wanted to, if you can give me a brief summary of what you are looking to do.
I'd like to give resources to people in the community that may be struggling, that don't have these resources, such as helping them find places where they can get therapy, where they can seek treatment or see a psychiatrist, any of that, and give those resources to the people who need them, and make the people of Eddystone feel like they're being supported by their community and by everyone in the town.
I think that's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
We could also provide QPR training and mental health first aid as well. Right, Kimmy?
Yeah.
Rob, I know that this is kind of in the very early stages. The sense I'm getting is that you're going to get council support on the creation of the Citizens Committee for dealing with mental health. How often do you think that you're going to be meeting? Is this something you think you're going to meet on a quarterly basis, twice a year, once a year? You know, and you don't necessarily need to be locked into an answer tonight, but I think it's something that we need to start thinking about is how often the committee is going to meet.
I think quarterly would be appropriate, but it's really like something that the committee itself is going to dictate on. You know, they may find that it's easier to meet monthly, you know, to address each issues. And but I'm going to leave it up to, say again,
As needed.
as needed. But you know, I think it's a good idea to start it off quarterly and then let the committee decide on how often they meet.
It'd be great if you could get,
I'm sorry, Beth. You're muted. Oh, I didn't hear you at least.
Dable.
Is this going to be Eddystone residents only?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like we were hoping to make it the watermark for every other municipality and have them create their own municipal mental health committees and deal with their citizens in the way that they see fit. But yeah, I would say that it's the Eddystone Citizen Committee is for Eddystone residents. I mean, I would say that it's not like a good idea to turn away anybody who needs help, but you know, that's my intention it's for Eddystone. But what do you think, Karen?
I got to think about it before I give you an answer.
Okay. I mean, it's being that it's not a cost to the community. I don't think that it's going to be that big of a deal one way or the other, you know. And then if we're successful in influencing all the other municipalities to create these committees, then we can kind of refer them to their own local community committee. But that's way in the future. So that's all I have.
Unless you wanted to reach out to other communities and ask them if they would consider doing that.
Yeah, we were
Or if you
planning on
have
doing
one.
that. We were planning on well, first we got to get this one going, and then we're gonna
Right.
take our case to the different municipal well, hopefully we'll do
Sure.
it.
Is there anybody trained in helping helping people? Like, are you trained to help the people? Like,
Well, Kimmy is trained in CPR, right?
Mental health first aid.
So I mean, like we can there's plenty of opportunities for people to get free training to do that. But once the community or the committee starts, then I would, as a liaison, I would recommend that would be the first step in the right direction. Other than, but I mean, compiling a list. We're not giving anybody in the community medical advice. We're just giving them
Options.
resources to take care of themselves or their family.
Have you contacted anyone in the mental health agencies in Delaware County? Maybe they could also give you a reference for someone who might be willing to come and help start it out too, and like what be best procedures to do it.
Coming from a nonprofit that is in that field, we have the contact information, and we'll that's a good idea. We'll reach out to them, and then
Yeah.
but it's really first we have to get people to volunteer that live
I
in
understand.
Eddystone to get it going.
And
But I
also,
recommend-
there's also a lot of shame with this too. Which
Yeah,
is
and that's what we're
tough.
trying to avoid. We're trying to change the zeitgeist, essentially, you know, like the way we
Yes.
look at mental health, drug addictions, so on and so forth, as a community. So that's all I got. Anybody else?
I'm sorry, Rob, my screen went blank for a few minutes.
I don't have anything else to
Okay.
to say, but if anybody has any questions, I'm here.
I think it's wonderful.
Thanks, Beth.
I absolutely do.
And Kimmy, thank you so much for presenting to the council. I mean, I know that's a rough thing to do, and I'm sorry for the loss of your brother, but
Yeah.
we'll make him proud, and we'll do our best to make sure that nobody suffers the same kind of tragedy.
Great
Thank
thing
you.
you're doing, Kim.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you all so much.
You're welcome.
Steve, EG, how does other municipalities deal with public forum?
What normally happens is that the folks are allowed to submit by email prior to the meeting, or you've opened your meeting up to the public. So if anybody wants to present anything, they can just unmute themselves and present if it's that appropriate time of the meeting.
Mr. Stewart, I would like to say something at this public forum.
Absolutely, Mr. Signa.
All right, I live at 1402 East 11th Street. Last Sunday, I was outside on my porch fixing my flags, and there's people carrying furniture into 1401, which a stop work order was put on it many months ago. Again, on Monday, another guy gets out of his truck with a bag of tools in there. And today, there's a mess of people coming out of there. So I called Matt on Monday when I saw the guy go in. He said, oh, yeah, I'm going up and put a stop work order. I told Armin he can't do this. Okay. Today I call him. And if I think I might have misunderstood him, but I would like him to answer it. I said to him, what is going on over there? Well, I'm going to meet with Armin. I gave him a thing so he can rent it out. Well, first of all, you can't. Number one, they never brought it up to council for a vote. They never brought it to planning or zoning. The store has never had a CO, and we can prove that. Always been a business. The paperwork and drawings for it has never, for residential permits were never pulled. Nothing is handicap accessible. There is no heater in there. We watched them take it out, me and my neighbors, because they all had to get permits when they moved into the borough to get their houses fixed. But for some unknown reason, as we said, we write all these things, what procedures and follow, and they do whatever they want, to the point where I had to go out and help John when the two guys attacked him. So all I'm saying to you is these people on the street are seeing something, and I don't know what it is. I don't know. I said to Matt, are you going to rent? He said, we're renting it out. We're going to rent it out to Armin. I said, what about the safe house? Yes. Yes, they're going to have a safe house after they rent it? Because if that's the answer he gives me tonight, tomorrow we'll start. And that's one thing I have. The second thing I have is the firehouse has a new pickup truck. Who is paying for the insurance, may I ask? Is the borough paying for it?
Well, let's Mr. Signa, let's deal with one issue at a time.
Okay.
And Matt, I'll yield you the time to address the issue of the rental property.
Yeah, 1401.
Okay, so Stan, in our conversation today, we were a little back and forth, and I was not 100% clear. So on
You're interested now?
On February 27th, Armin Pace applied for a certificate of occupancy for 1401 11th Street, which is listed in accounting records as a two-story house.
That's the house
If I could share my screen on, nope, I cannot share my screen.
Okay.
On March 4th, an inspection was performed by Peter Boyer. He wrote up quite a few small little maintenance things that needed to be completed. After you reached out last week, he right away reached out to Armin and set up an appointment to meet out there tomorrow. So Peter's going to go through. He's going to take pictures of the property. He and I are going to converse. And nothing has been allowed to be put into that building. No rental permit has been applied for nor issued. Only thing was for certificate of occupancy, he paid $100 on 2/27. And we performed an inspection on that. So looking at the actual application, description of the property is a 2-story house. Is it a residential rental property? He checked yes. Number of units, 1. So we are going to verify that. We are going to double check the records if we can find them in Borough Hall.
I thought you said you went out to media to get them, and they don't have any. And the Borough Hall did have the records. We do know that.
We are going to go into the basement and double check the one filing cabinet with
Connection is unstable.
rental properties in it.
Have you contacted John Lyman?
I have not reached out to John Lyman regarding this.
I think you should.
I will. Thank you.
And like I said, and when I asked you about the safe house, you pretty much said yes and yes. What do you mean yes and yes?
So in regards to a safe house, we would have to obtain additional information on exactly what's happening. If it falls within your rental ordinance, Peter, correct me if I'm wrong, we really have nothing to stand on due to the legal definition of family that has changed multiple times and has been to court and whatnot. I've dealt with this in quite a few municipalities. The legal battle is unobtainable due to the definition of family and what the laws allow for a 2-story house.
Question. I have a question.
Go ahead.
Can I ask a question there?
Yes, Mayor.
Sorry.
Issued a CO to the property already?
We did not issue a CO.
The store has never had a CO, Alan. We know that.
What did you issue on February 27th?
On February 27th, a certificate of occupancy application was received.
Okay.
On May 4th, an inspection was performed. It did not pass for anything. Nothing has been approved for that property.
Why wasn't council notified of this?
Yes.
Well,
This is May already, and we have no notifications. I mean, you put a report in every month. Why weren't we notified?
notified for what? Us going out and doing an inspection?
Now, these people came to the borough back in January or February, asked to put a safe house in there with numerous people in there, and it was tabled.
And nothing was received by my office at all in regards to that.
What permits were pulled for that building? Any that we have?
Nothing has been pulled as of yet.
Was there any pulled out of there?
In 2020, nothing has been pulled.
How about before that?
In 2019, I'm going to have to triple check the log, the monthly log.
I mean,
because there's no historical records for individual property on permits.
I mean, this affects a lot of people's lives here. And I mean, it's bad enough we have the pandemic going on, but now this. This is the last thing I wanted to see with these people. I have to face them every day. And they know something fishy's going on the way they sneak in here on a Sunday, put stuff in, quick, put the door back, screw it up, and get out of here. And Monday, a guy shows up. And then today, how many were there when I called you? I mean, Matt, I told you before, you got to be upfront. People know something stinks around here, and it's got to stop. And this is why I say they want to spend money for procedures and this and that when they don't even follow it themselves. And I'm sick of it. I mean, I've been here my whole life. I don't need this aggravation. Well, I shouldn't say that. I was here since 1964. My wife's been here her whole life. And I knew talking to you today, you weren't the same person I talked to before. And now everything's going this way. I'm going to tell you something. I'm not going to let go of this too easy. I'm going to find out because actually I'm going to start making phone calls. I've had enough. I don't think we're being told the truth. That's all I want to say, Matt. And
Well, if I was able to share my screen, I would show you what we have on that property. At this time, I have nothing on it other than this CO application. There are no other correspondences.
I'm talking to someone.
I mean, on a Sunday, they were pulling out the oil tank, and the neighbor knocks on my door and said, "Are you the committee man?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "What are they doing taking out an oil tank when they're not certified?" I had to call the cops. We had to bring the cops here. They went after John. I mean, this place has been nothing but a headache. There's no heat in it. I know that. And you say there's minor problems. There's more than minor in there. And besides that, I don't trust anything anymore. I mean, everything around here is getting a little too shady for me. So I'm just going to ask you to be honest and do the right job for the people in this town. That's what I'm asking for. And if people are going to ask for permits, they're going to ask it because they all had to get permits. That's why they're outside fuming when they're pulling an oil tank out on what day? Sunday. That's a disgrace. And that's the way everything's, it's got to stop. It just can't go on like this anymore. And we were hoping you would make the difference. But after talking to you, I don't feel that way.
Stan, I apologize. I was actually
that's all right,
picking up my
Matt.
car today.
You know what I always say? Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. Let him handle it.
So in direct regards to this, I have my inspector going out tomorrow to meet with the property owner.
Okay.
He made contact when he was down there on Friday. He made contact when he was down there on Thursday. He and I actually had a conversation about this property prior to you calling me while I was in the middle of something else, but I stepped away to take your call quickly.
I thank you.
I apologize for the misinformation going back and forth. When we discussed on Friday is exactly the same as today. Okay? What was received, what you perceived today, I honestly don't, I don't know what was said.
You said I gave him a thing so he could rent it out. And I says, okay, it's somebody's going to live in there. I have no problem with that. I said, what about the safe house? The same thing. And then you almost snicker. I said to myself, this guy can't be trusted either. And I am very upset. But you know what, Matt? I'm hoping you have a change of heart and not do what's been done to these people before. They've been, this is terrible. Everybody else has to go by the rules and the regulations. These other people, it's whatever they want. And we know who they're influenced with. So, Matt, with that, I'm done. You go ahead and do. I just hope you do the right thing, Matt.
Most definitely will.
Because I'll look into it, believe me. It's going to start tomorrow.
All right.
Thank you. I'm done, Mr. Stewart, except I'd like to know who's paying the insurance for the fire truck.
For the new pickup, right?
Yeah, the brand new pickup. Is anybody going to answer it?
Sorry, I'm trying to find the unmute button. Chief Burke, I believe I saw you on the call. Is that correct? Was Chief Burke on the call or any representative from the firehouse on the call?
Chief was on the call. Maybe he stepped out for a minute, but he was on.
Ali, are you on the call?
He's probably on the fire call.
Fire
now.
whistle's blowing down. So he ain't gonna answer you now.
Well, it's either got to be the fire company's paying for it or the borough's paying for it. That's the only two answers it could be.
Stan, I believe that the fire company purchased that utility vehicle with their own funds and the insurance is being paid by the fire company. So that truck is 100% wholly owned by the fire department.
Yeah, Bill, we paid, the borough paid the insurance.
That's what I thought. Thanks a lot. We ain't got money for the police. We ain't got money for the highway guys, but we give everything to the firehouse. My police can't even get uniforms. That's nice. Thank you very much, Mr. Pizzetti. Thank you for being honest. That's not much I get anymore out of anybody. Thank you. Disgrace.
Yeah, why wasn't there a vote to pay for the insurance?
We don't follow procedures. We just do whatever we want. You heard them. They're transparent. Yeah, they're transparent, all right.
They couldn't pay for EMTs last year, but they're having a windfall of money.
Oh, yeah, and they got pickup, brand new pickup with a plow, no less. They didn't tell us about the plow.
That vehicle was paid out of relief.
I hope so.
Oh, it was.
Does that fall under the scope for relief expenditure?
Yes, it does.
I don't know why we're paying the insurance. That's a disgrace. We ain't gave them enough. We still give it to them.
What have you given to the fire department? Let me know.
Who's talking?
Go ahead. You can run it the meeting, Mr. Stewart. I'm done.
Yeah, the building, gas.
Fire trucks.
You don't have to go through all that.
Yep.
They know.
They know.
Exactly.
The last fire truck was paid by a grant.
Yes, it was. Thanks to Andy.
No, we need a fire commissioner like Bob Gleam. That's what you need.
Second it.
That would straighten it out.
Mr. Yanuzzi, can I trouble you to have a discussion about both the Memorial Day Parade and the summer camp and how those two events are being affected by COVID-19?
Yes, sir. So we got the Memorial Day Parade as we know it has been canceled, but we are working on, or the rec committee is working on doing a drive-by, kind of quarantine-friendly, social distance parade. Not as big as what we had in the past, but just to provide some sort of hope to the people in our community and to show that we appreciate our those that gave their lives in the defense of our nation. And outside of that, we have a discussion going on in regards to a drive-by parade, drive-by parade for those that graduated high school this year. I'm going to have to get back to everybody in regards to the logistics of what the rec committee decides. There is discussion about canceling the summer camp, but again, I don't have a clear-cut decision made by the rec committee. So if anybody's from the rec committee that can speak to that, they can chime in. But I'm going to have to get back to you in regards to the final decision by the rec committee. And it's only because it's not that the rec committee doesn't want to have this. Things are just scared of getting the community sick of the area. Casey, I think I saw you on here.
Yeah, hey Rob.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm
wanna
good.
speak to any
You
of
guys
that?
are all doing all right and everything. So yeah, I think this year it's safe to say that summer camp is canceled. Unfortunately, we really want to do it, but there's going to be no way to distance all those kids. It's just not possible, especially in the art room. Usually most of the tables are completely full with kids. In the gym, all the kids are running around together. I don't think it's a good idea, and I'm pretty sure everyone else will back me up.
Now, do we have any final plans for the Memorial Day celebration?
Yeah, so how it would work is I believe we discussed getting police and fire involved, and basically anyone that wanted to participate in decorating their vehicle. The route would be hitting every street, basically trying to use the Santa route. I believe we discussed on as well. Of course, we would have to look more into the route specifics, but basically just decorating the cars. We ask all residents to please stay on their properties at all times in order for this to work. You know, other towns had success using the Easter Bunny for a drive-by, and someone did make a post about that on Talk of the Town, and at the time we had just gotten a confirmed case from the firehouse, so we were too scared to do that. But I think if everyone can stay on the property, we can at least line our cars up, starting at the Boeing Union Hall where we normally do, and then we can hit every street and just spread a little bit of positivity. And like you said, of course, it's not going to be as big and as, you know, different things going on like it usually is, and unfortunately the field events will be canceled as well as the fireworks, but we're looking to hopefully get through, you know, this quarantine and everything so that we can do something nice for the residents. But for now, we're looking to do the quarantine style parade for everyone, so long as everyone can stay on their property and kind of hold that.
Now, in regards to the, I think Christine was talking to you about she wanted to do a graduation celebration in the same fashion.
Yeah, basically, see if the police or fire would be willing to escort the 2020 graduates, kind of hand out a flyer to everyone in town. The only people participating would be the 2020 graduates and their families in the parade. They would be the ones driving by, and everyone is to also stay on their property and basically do a clap out as if they were walking down the elementary school hallway before the graduation ceremony. So that's kind of like the idea, hitting every street as well and just kind of clapping and cheering for them and congratulating them.
I have a question. Would you be doing it on the night they would have graduated?
So we can't do that. We're actually trying to figure out when they're getting their cap and gowns. Christine is going to look into that to figure out what day they're receiving them. Only because I did recommend that, and I thought that would be a really cool idea.
Yeah.
But they're still to report to the high school to receive their diploma.
Okay.
So I think with all that going on would be a little too much to create a time. So hopefully looking like a few days before graduation.
Yeah, after they have their cap and gowns, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Or after they get the diplomas, they can hold that up too.
Yeah, exactly. Even maybe the weekend after or a few days after.
Yeah, they go out with their cap and gowns and hold up their diplomas. Show what they earned.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Christine's in here, but I can definitely give her a call or text her and see how she feels about that as well. I think she'd be all for it as long as we're, you know, giving something for them.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Great idea. Great.
Okay, well, that's what we have. Thank you, Casey. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks, Rob.
Bill,
all the Borough Rec stuff. Rob,
I'm
is
sorry?
everything for Borough Rec?
That's everything for Borough Rec, yeah.
I got a question for you. Who controls the calendar for like the football field, the baseball field, or softball fields?
I'm gonna have to look into that and get back to you, Mayor.
Because St. James usually has their annual softball tournament in September. I want to make sure that they have their days circled.
Okay, I'll look into that and I'll send you an email in regards to the answer that I find, okay?
Hey, Rob,
I'll get that to
usually
you.
Mindy controls like she usually runs the calendar for anything going on with the rec field and stuff. So contact Mindy.
Okay, well, Mayor, we'll contact Mindy and I'll get you the answer that you need.
Mr. Stewart, I got another question I want to ask you. Are you there, Mr. Stewart? Dawn, is Bill Stewart
Yes,
on?
sir, Mr. Signa. What is your question?
Well, one thing I left out is we have no health inspector. When are you going to put Mike Pizzetti back in as health inspector? You voted him out. Are you going to put him back?
It was my understanding that we never voted Mike Vicente out. I thought Mike Vicente was the health inspector.
Well, according to the paper I got in my phone, you did vote him out. Or what I'm asking you,
January.
yeah, I understand. Are you going to put him back as of now?
It was my understanding that we didn't vote him out as health inspector. I thought he was still doing the job as health inspector.
All
I
right.
guess we can take a look at the committees. They can take a look at the meetings that we've had in the past, make a determination, and if we have to reinstall a health inspector, we'll do it next meeting.
Well, because we have no health inspectors, and we're already 4 months into the year.
Mr. Stewart, he was voted out in January.
Yes.
January's meeting.
Now let's get him back in then.
Yep, he was doing everything. He's good at that. He went to school for it. He's
Yeah, I
state
know.
certified. There's nobody else to do it.
Well, like
There were a
Bill
couple
said, we'll
people-
put him back in.
There were a couple people in the community that reached out to me when interested in doing the health inspection.
Oh, we already got one.
You have one. He's state certified. Are they state certified?
I can't answer that
According
right
to
Well,
Ben
you can't answer
Learwick,
that. You should have brought it up. Mike is state certified. He's been doing it. That's the problem. Everybody's trying to push him out when he didn't do anything wrong. He wants to do the job and do it right. But obviously, you guys have a problem with him.
According to Ben Learwick from PA State Department of Health, there was no schooling that Mike attended, but maybe Ben is wrong.
He had the state guy with him when he was over at ShopRite.
Okay, we can contact Ben and ask him.
All right, I'll contact Mike and let him know. He might even be on. Are you on, Mike?
I have a letter from Ben saying that to do health inspections at food places, you ought to be certified by the state, but taught by him. The letter shows
Right.
that it's in the office behind. That's what I had done. And then on January's meeting, I got voted out as health inspector 4-3 to ISET.
Right.
And Matt said they don't do health inspections the month later. But I got voted out in January. It's on the minutes, 4-3.
Yes.
That's why I stopped doing it.
To get back to what Stan said, correct, you are not certified. There is no certification.
Not for food, that's correct. But you have to do courses or go to restaurants with someone that's state certified, which is Ben, which I did all 11 inspections I did with Ben. And there's 9 left to be done in Eddystone. There's 20 places.
Okay.
But I stopped in January after I got voted out.
So we're already 5 months in. Can't we get Mike in reinstated tonight?
Well, hold on. What was the story with the VFW there, and Don's Bar? You're muted.
I went by. What happens is, at the beginning of the year, everyone has to pay a fee, which I went back prior to John doing it and Dallas. So
Wasn't that in February?
It gets billed for the year, and everyone has to pay a fee. During that year is when they get inspected. But they still pay a fee every year.
I'm not trying to harp on you, man. But if it was done in February, is that?
Is what done in February?
That was when you had approached. You sent the letters out to everybody.
I believe it was. I believe it was in December. I haven't done this. I haven't done this, Robert, since January. I guess in January. But we did. I forget the inspections we did, but all the bills went out for the year. VFW was never inspected yet.
And what about Don's Bar? Said that somebody came around. The VFW said that the letter just came
there
in the mail
twice.
and nobody inspected.
I went there twice with Ben.
Okay.
Yeah, and VFW, like you said, I don't know if you wanted to bill them, but prior to that, they did pay a certificate every year. But you said something about not billing them because the school doesn't pay, obviously.
My memory doesn't serve me correctly as far as what we were discussing about in previous.
But as of January, I was voted out.
Okay, I don't have any other questions. I mean, like if every,
I'd like to see Mike reappointed back to that position that he doesn't have.
Absolutely. He's already here.
I'll make a motion to put him back into place as both health inspector.
Second.
I believe you would have had to contact me to have that motion on the agenda, if I'm correct, right, Peter?
No, you're wrong.
Okay, we'll ask Peter.
Or, I mean, I don't think it's on the agenda for tonight.
But we make motions all the time and second them.
Yes, we do. It doesn't have to be on the agenda, Peter.
Dawn, let's talk about the right to knows. Is there any outstanding right to knows?
Yeah, that's it. Push it forward. Don't take care of business.
The two right to knows have been satisfied. We have one that is waiting the approval of the minutes tonight, and then I will get them out tomorrow, which has already been discussed with the applicant.
Okay. Ms. Catania, I'm sorry I jumped over you. The engineer's report.
I play leapfrog all the time, Mr. Stewart, so I just have a couple things. The first is that I have an escrow release for Penn Terminals. Last month, we did an escrow release, left money in the escrow account for an as-built. I did receive that as-built, so I'm going to recommend that we do an escrow release in the amount of $1,688.50. Just to keep everyone up to date, the Eddystone Avenue sanitary sewer lining project, we're hoping that SWRP is hoping that they will be starting work at the end of May. Now, with all of the quarantine and construction just starting, I don't know if that date is still in effect. I wasn't able to get hold of Ed today to find out, but we are looking at the end of May, hopefully to get that lining project at the 700 block of Eddystone Avenue. Any of the residents along that area will be notified. However, most of the residents that are there actually go into a separate line that's parallel to the line that we're lining. DCNR application went in on the 22nd of April. I do know for a fact that Gene Lynch from DCNR is doing reviews currently. My guess is, however, that due to the quarantine and stay-at-home order, that we probably will not hear. We were hoping that we would hear by September. That was their time frame. I'm thinking it's going to be later than that. That was for the feasibility studies for Lighthouse Hall. Otherwise, I can just report some general progress. I've been dealing with the chief and getting the RCAP information together. We put it on hold, mainly because it was supposed to be out sometime past couple weeks, and because of the stay-at-home orders, that hasn't come through. So I'm not sure when that deadline is going to be. We have the road program. There is a list that's available for the streets. I don't know if anyone's on council's interested in putting a authorization together to get that bid, not necessarily having the list approved tonight, get it bid. I've gotten prices from $75 a ton to $80 a ton, which last year we were paying 110. So because the oil's so cheap, the paving numbers have come in really well this year. So I might suggest to you to do that this evening as well. That's all I have unless anyone has any questions.
Any questions for Lisa?
No, my question is, you got a vote on the table and it was second, a motion, and you haven't done anything with it. You intend just to ignore it?
Dan, when we get to the action item portion of the meeting, I'll allow you to put your motion on the table. When we get to that portion of the meeting, I'll allow you to put your motion on the table.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart.
Council entertain a motion to approve the minutes from last month's Zoom meeting.
Can we get the meeting minutes? Were the meeting minutes fixed for March? Was I added on as being a participant?
I can certainly forward them over. If I would have known, I would have had them to you before, included in the packet tonight.
I believe that was just a typographical error, correct, Karen?
Yes, that part was. Also, it has on here that Mr.
Approve the meeting minutes with the understanding that the error would be corrected.
Right, Mr. Amuso was going to correct it. Did they get corrected?
Sorry, I believe they were approved with the correction. I can make sure that you get a corrected copy. But I
Okay.
believe- I'll look at that.
What were you looking for? Karen?
To correct it, remember Dawn didn't have me in it at the one meeting in March. I wanted that corrected last month.
No, I got April's meeting.
So on April's meeting, there was more to Mr. Wilson, what Mr. Wilson said is actually posted on this agenda.
Can you repeat that, Karen? I didn't hear it.
Yes, it says on here that Mr. Wilson, at the prior meeting, Mr. Tinney attended and made a public comment, and Mr. Wilson would like it noted that Mr. Tinney's correct address is in Chester.
Yes, that's on here.
Yes, but we need to put the whole statement on here, what Mr. Wilson said.
Oh.
So can we have that corrected? So that the minutes reflect Mr. Wilson's statement?
Mr. Amuso, I know that these minutes don't necessarily reflect the transcript of every word that was said. With Ms. Reeves' request, what would your position be? Do we want to start getting into setting the precedent of having direct quotes from our council members transcribed word for word into the meeting minutes?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, minutes are just minutes. They're not transcripts of what happened. I know we've got videos, I think, that are posted online. So there's records that way, but minutes are not meant to be transcripts. So I don't think we should be selectively putting quotes in there or not. But I mean, certainly the council, you can make the motion, but I wouldn't recommend it.
Oh, so then why take them?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So can I get a motion to approve last month's meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second. Can I get a second?
I'll give you a second.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Yes.
Karen's opposed. Anybody else opposed?
Yes, me, Stan Signer.
So I got 5 yeas and 2 nays. Is that correct, Dawn? Do we
Correct.
need to do a roll call, or are you okay with 5 and 2?
I heard 5-2.
Mr. Vicente, can you give the treasurer's report, please?
Yes, Council President. For the month of April 30 and the period ending April 30th, 2020, Sharon Bank General Fund, $393,756.60. The Sewer Fund at Beneficial Bank, $372,076.32. The Liquid Fuel Fund at Beneficial Bank, $131,165.96. And the Beautification Fund at Sharon Bank, $3,835.38. That's as of 4/30/2020. The total's 900,834.26.
Council, you've heard the treasurer's report. Can I get a motion to approve?
President Wilson. Sorry, or President Stewart, could I ask a question first, please?
Absolutely. Let me get a motion on the table.
Sure, go ahead.
So
I
ordered.
have a motion
So ordered.
and a second. Any question of council? Mr. Sprague, your question.
Yes. Mr. Pacenti, the balance for the general fund that you gave was as of April 30th. Could you give us an update as of the last time you checked it?
Yeah, I had before the meeting, the current balance as of 5/11 today, for the general fund at Sharon Bank is $1,530,859.89. And the sewer fund is also different. It's $417,616.32 as of today. The liquid fuel remains the same, as well as the beautification fund.
Very good. Thank you.
More money to spend.
No, it means we're not going broke like you keep insisting.
Oh, we are going broke. We have no clue.
Council, hearing the treasurer's report. I have a motion made and seconded. Any other questions? Call for action. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Cash receipts and disbursements journal.
Make a motion that all bills be paid and all cash deposited, made part of the permanent minutes.
Seconded.
I got a motion made and seconded. Any questions about the cash receipts and disbursements journal before we take action?
I have a question.
Your question, Mr. Wilson.
Just for my understanding, the cash receipts and disbursements journal, these are checks that have not been cut as of this time, correct?
No, they're all the bills that have been paid.
They were checks that are approved, paid in that time period in April. They're all paid through April, and they were all approved via the voucher and signed off on. They weren't paid until they were approved by voucher signatures, and they're all the checks that were written from April 1st to April 30th.
Okay, just so I understand, this is a report of checks that have been issued and sent out. Correct?
Yes,
Thank you.
it's all the bills that you signed off on. Once they get approved, they get paid. That's what that is. Cash receipts and disbursement journal.
Well, the only reason I ask about that, Karen, is because the auditor told me just the other day that receipts and disbursements, when you approve that, you're approving the check to be written, not approving the report.
No, the report gets approved at the meeting.
Okay. Well,
Bills are paid. Once the bills are paid, once the chairman sign off on the bills get paid. The next month you accept the cash receipts and disbursement journal.
In the month of June for the month of May.
Correct.
That happens every month.
Mr. Wilson, one of the things that I suspect that you're going to hear from Donna Stillwell when she completes her review of policies and procedures is that the bills should all be collected, the check should be cut, everything should be prepared, and there should be a stack of envelopes that sits on the borough manager's desk that gets put in the mail the day the next morning following the meeting, which council gives approval for cash receipts and disbursements journal. That has not been the policy or procedure that has been followed for many councils prior to me, Karen, or anybody else that has been long-standing members of council. However, I do suspect that is something that you're going to hear from Donna Stillwell once she completes her procedure, is that council gives approval. Once that approval is made at that point in time, it basically releases the borough manager, giving her permission to drop the payments in the mail.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it sounds to me like the standard accounting procedure on this is that the checks are cut and then the checks are approved for disbursement. And that's how it should be done, and that's not how it's done.
No, that's not, you're wrong. You got it backwards. You get a packet, you get a folder to sign off on the bills. Once you
Karen,
sign off on those bills,
I don't
you
want to
hand them
argue
in,
about it.
and
I
they
just
get paid.
asked the
Joe,
question.
explain
I
it.
have an
Can't dumb
answer.
it down enough.
I just had an answer. I'm done. Move ahead.
Joe, do you have a different understanding, just out of curiosity, than what I just explained to Mr. Wilson?
No, Bill, it's a preference. I mean, as long as the things are signed off on, but if she agrees, she wants the checks cut and then mailed out the day after the meeting, that's a 6 and 1/2 dozen others, depending on how you want to do it. As long as they're approved.
Well, it's supposed to be approved by council, not by individual council members. That is the whole issue.
You're the chairman. You should be able to, forget it.
Yep, let it go, Karen.
You don't have legal authority to do that.
No other questions or comments. All in favor of the cash receipts in the Submersive Journal, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? No. Mr. Wilson, is that a no, you're opposed, or a no that you're not opposed?
No, that I am opposed because it's not correctly done.
Alrighty, so motion carries 6-1. You're good with that, right, Dawn? You don't need a roll call?
Correct, thank you.
Chief, are you with us? Chief Pacheski, are you with us for the police report?
Obviously not.
I'm here, Mr. President.
Hey.
How you guys doing?
Thank
Please,
you. Can I have the police report, please?
you may. Mr. President, police report for April 2020. Calls for service 238 for 12/18 for the year, 15 citations for 180, 8 accidents for a total of 39, 11 theft reports for a total of 58, 19 parking tickets for a total of 189, 15 criminal arrests for a total of 73. During the course of April, received a generous donation from Mr. Flynn, one of the businessmen of the community, for veal meal vouchers at Vicky's to distribute to the seniors and those in need in the borough. Some of the vouchers were disseminated through the borough manager's office. The remaining vouchers were forwarded to Pastor Charlie and the rest of the police chaplains to disseminate to those who are in need. Also, listening to the council meeting, Rob and Casey, the police department would be honored and happy to participate in the senior and the Memorial Day event. I'll get in touch with you later in the week to make sure that we're all on the same page. Also, the police department. No problem. Also, we received requests for police and fire to conduct parades to help celebrate family milestones due to the pandemic. We have one scheduled later in this week. If there's any other resident that would like emergency service to help celebrate family milestones, please contact police headquarters, or you can email me directly, emakshesky@eddystonepd.com.
Hey, Ed, would a lady turning 100 years old this month count?
Yes, I have her for the 24th, I believe. I don't have my
Okay,
records in front of me.
great. Thanks, Ed.
And as far as the grants go, as Ms. Catania said, the RCAP grant is somewhat on hold at the state level at this time, so we can't proceed on that. We are actively working on the SAFER grant. I hope to have that drafted and ready to go in a day or two.
That's for the police, right, Ed?
The SAFER grant will be for emergency services, meaning the fire department staffing.
Thanks for all your hard work, Chief.
No problem. I'm also thank Mr. Sprague's helping me out with the financial numbers on that, and I think we came up with a good formula, or a winning formula, to receive some grant funding.
My pleasure. Thank you, Chief.
That's the report, Mr. President.
Good job, Ed.
Council, entertain a motion to accept the police report for last month.
So ordered.
Second.
Second, please.
Second.
Any other questions of Ed before we take action?
Thanks, Ed.
No problem.
With no questions, all in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Is representatives from the fire department in for the fire report, please?
I was
Good
sent
evening,
the,
Council. Good evening, Council President. April 2020 Fire EMS report. Fire calls, 14 total, 12 day, 2 night. Total of 56 members responding, average 4 per call. Total in-time service, 7.6 hours. Terry Burke Jr., Fire Chief. EMS, total calls dispatch, 29. 8 transport, 5 refusal, 4 cancellation, 1 fire standby. I did forget to add 2 QRS calls. 9 incidents handled by mutual aid due to no staffing of EMTs. For the month of April, 69% of the calls handled by Eddystone EMS, 31% handled by mutual aid. Respectfully submitted, Ollie Byrie Jr.
Council, you've heard the fire report for the month of April. Any, can I get a motion to approve or a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion to accept.
seconded.
A second.
Seconded.
Any questions or comments to the fire department prior to the call for action? Not hearing any questions. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Mr. McCluskey, can I get the building code official report for April, please?
All right, the building code official report is very light this month due to COVID-19. So residential, number of permits issued 4, number of stop work orders 6, number of inspections performed, which were both emergency inspections for sewer laterals 2, total fees received $163.50. 0 commercial industrial permits were received. Contractors' licenses were 2. COs received were 0. Or, I'm sorry, CO inspections performed was 0. We did receive 2 applications for $100. Numbers of applications received for rentals was 3 for a total of $600. So monthly totals. Total inspection performed 2, stop work order citations 6, work permits issued 4, number of licenses issued 2, total fees received $1,013.50. So we did issue a few emergency permits. We did inspect them. They were both sewers. We are starting to see a ramp up of complaints, property maintenance complaints and whatnot. We have these new door knockers.
Very nice.
Just to make initial contact with all the residents, all the property owners and whatnot. If we don't hear back from them within the week, we're sending out a letter right away to get on this stuff. I am having issue with one on Leap Year, 1201 Leap Year. That's a bank-owned property, and I'm going round and round and round trying to get a hold of somebody. And there's a few other ones I'm having issues with. Letters and citations will be going out. Other than that, Peter will be down tomorrow, like stated earlier. And he'll be at Barry Callebaut and quite a few other stops, including the one discussed before. That's it for me tonight.
Okay, can I ask a question?
Of course.
Have you heard anything on, we had a few people that owed you for COs and for for COs and for permits? Have you gotten them?
So we have received, or we did not issue any permits without receiving the payment. So it was confirmed that the payment was sent and or received, and then permits were issued. There are a few sitting in the bin that still have to be picked up. Dawn did reach out to them a few weeks ago. All the ones that were sitting. In regards to the COs, like I just said, we're not doing anything until payment is received.
Okay, well, I mean, for one, I know that there's one that's going to be going to court. Has that person satisfied theirs yet? I'm talking about Mr. Stewart, Ann's Market.
So
and Lawrence Avenue. I want to know what's going on with this because I'm hearing a lot of flack.
So as of right now, the court date was pushed till June, and with the state of things, will most likely get pushed again. But we have not been contacted to inspect and try to satisfy. And with everything that's going on right now due to COVID, we are ramping it back up and going to follow up on everything that we can.
Okay. So everything's pushed back because of court.
As of right now, it is, but we are following up.
Okay. Thank you, Matt.
No problem.
All right, do we have a motion on the table to accept the report, please?
So moved.
Motion, have a second. Any other questions prior to call for action? Not hearing any. All in favor of accepting the code enforcement report for April, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Lisa, what action items does Borough Council need to take this evening based on your report?
You have the escrow release for Penn Terminals. That's in the amount of $1,688.50. That'll final out that project.
Now, will that satisfy everything the Penn Terminals is looking for? I think they were looking for an acceptance letter or something. Has that been taken care of?
I don't know what an acceptance letter would be. Our escrow release letter says that this completes the project, but I'm not aware of an acceptance letter. I don't know if that's possibly, I know that from the UCC side, and Matt might be able to answer this. I know that we did the final inspection. There was a couple issues that need to be resolved, but I know from our inspector that those were completed, and he was going to reach out to Matt. Has he done that, Matt?
Yes. Yeah, he reached out and we did issue a CO for that.
So I'm not sure if there's a so-called acceptance letter. I will tell you today I received a copy of a letter from Agate Construction looking for a tally of all of the inspection funds. So I don't know who's going to handle that. We'll probably have to do that jointly. The other thing that we have on tap is the road program, and I don't know whether you want to issue an authorization to bid so that we get it done between now and 2 weeks before your next meeting, so that we can get some pretty good bid numbers. We can finalize that streets list within the next 2 weeks, but I do know that we did an inspection and have those streets available.
All right, let's do the release of the escrow first. So council, at this time, entertain a motion to approve the release of the remaining escrow, which is $1,600 for the work that's been completed at Penn Terminals for their bulkhead.
So ordered.
Second.
Any questions before we call for action? No questions. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Second issue, Lisa, is the road program.
The road program and whether we authorize, or we can hold off, is there's $131,000 in your liquid fuels. Luckily, you have that money because we've had a very, very light winter. That's a positive thing. You do need some of that money in order to take care of your maintenance of your roads and your time frame between now and next April when you get your next payment.
Is there a list of streets that you've proposed to pave, or what you're looking at is just putting some quantity out and getting the contractor to bid on an unknown location at this time?
No, we had an inspector go out and do a list of streets that are in poor condition, and we'll take from that list. Council will be able to take a look at that list and then make their determination based on, obviously, the budget, what you want to spend this year. So there is a list of streets. to answer
There
your
is a list of streets, and basically we could, if we authorize the bids to be taken this evening, council still has the opportunity to identify exactly which streets are going to be paved. Is that correct?
Correct.
Council, I'll leave it at your pleasure if I'll entertain a motion for giving Catania Engineering permission to advertise for a, we'll call it a 2020 road program.
So ordered.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any questions of Lisa prior to taking action? Not hearing any. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Hey, Bill, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Can you have somebody or maybe Matt go over? We have been fighting with Aero Aggregates for I don't know how many years now. I know at least 2 on getting those piles reduced. And every time we've talked to them, they said they were going to do this, they were going to do that. Nothing's been done. Can we get on them again? Because those piles are getting bigger again.
Much bigger and more of them.
They actually have a new,
Matt, do you know what Councilwoman Reeves is speaking of, correct?
I do know what she's speaking of. I personally have reached out to DEP to see what we can do about it. In
The
regards,
Stone Alps over there.
it would be good on a snowy day. But we are, it's lots of fun dealing with her.
Putting more and more piles over there, Matt.
There is more.
Yep, they're adding more and more piles. I mean, the other day it was windy. This crap was blowing all over.
I was down at the doghouse today, and the pile is all the way up alongside the extra parking space. I mean, it's right on the fence now, and they're up above the cranes.
Yep.
The piles.
Matt, my understanding is their production schedules based on the orders that they've received. And, you know, I'm understanding that business is very good for them on how much aggregate they're being asked to produce.
So I will follow up with our aggregate as well as make my phone call to DEP again to see what leg.
They do have a new manager over there now.
Yeah, Herb.
I don't know his name. I was given his name this morning, and I don't remember what it was. But there is a new manager. He talked to the guys from the doghouse, and he said that they're going to level their piles out and put tarps up there. But they told us that.
Wait a minute.
years
It
ago.
wasn't too long ago.
I heard about that in February.
It wasn't too long ago that they put a thing out saying they had an off-site. They found a place for off-site storage. What happened to that?
Yeah. They're blowing smoke.
They made a lot of promises that it wouldn't be the way it is when they first started wanting to go in there. They said that they would control it, make sure it was nice, neat, no problems. But dust is getting all over the place.
Hey, Matt, can you shut them down until they rectify the problem?
Not necessarily. I wish I could. Alan, how about later this week? I'll reach out to you tomorrow, and we'll converse on what was originally stated and get a meeting together with them.
Hey,
All right, no
Matt,
problem. Yeah, give me a call.
Matt, it's Lisa. Can
Yes,
you
Lisa.
give me a call tomorrow? Because I have an idea of some way of trying to control that.
Most definitely.
All right, thanks.
No, thank you.
Thanks, Lisa. That's wonderful.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Lisa.
Lisa.
Sure.
So you're going to tell us we can move it up to Ridley Township, right? The piles?
Yeah, yeah. Stick it over right in Woodland, right next to my house.
Yeah.
The next item on the agenda deals with the SAFER grant. Mr. Musso, I've got a question for you prior to taking action on that. The borough is looking at submitting a SAFER grant. I think the chief had described the purposes of the grant during his report. Does council need to approve the submission of the SAFER grant, or can we submit the SAFER grant and council has to approve, if we're awarded the money, the acceptance of the money, or both?
I mean, let's do both. I mean, they certainly, can do both, and I think it makes sense for council to approve the submission.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the submission of the SAFER grant for staffing at the fire department. Can I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Council, any questions regarding the SAFER grant or how the SAFER grant works? Not hearing any. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
I have a no from Mr. Signa, I assume,
No.
and a no from Ms. Reeves. Any other no's? Any other no's? Motion will carry 5-2.
Council President, who actually made the motion?
I believe either Mr. Yanuzzi or Mr. Sprague.
I did, Dawn.
Thank you.
And I believe the second was from Ms. Gross.
Yes, I had Beth, but I could not hear the first one. Thank you.
Hey, guys, my computer's intermittently having an issue. What is the SAFER grant specifically? I forgot what it was exactly.
To honor the chief, I'll turn it over to you to explain the SAFER grant.
Ms. Groves, the SAFER grant's an opportunity to secure some funding to offset the costs for having a paid staff at the fire department.
Okay. Okay.
Council, at this time, I entertain the motion to approve the hiring of a part-time EMT firefighter by the name of Sam Terry.
Qualified?
I have a motion.
Is he qualified?
My understanding is that he was vetted by a member of Borough Council, a Borough Manager, and the EMT Supervisor, and the gentleman is fully qualified to serve in the position in which we are appointing him to.
Okay.
Did he apply, or are you making the appointment?
Say again?
Did he apply for the position, or are you just
I
making an
believe he
appointment?
applied, yes.
Yes. Ali can speak to it.
Who pays the benefits under the SAFER grant? Do we know?
I don't believe there are benefits of the SAFER grant if we're doing nothing but part-time employees. So do I have a motion for the hiring of Sam Terry?
So moved.
Second.
Seconded.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
No.
I have a no from Ms. Reeves and a no from Mr. Signa. Is that correct?
Yes.
Motion passes 5 to 2. Council, you heard a presentation earlier in this evening from Ms. Johnson regarding the creation of a citizens committee for mental health. I'll have a entertaining motion to approve the creation of that citizens committee.
And who's going to be in charge of that, Mr. Yanuzzi?
From a council
reach out to
perspective, Mr. Yanuzzi will be the council liaison.
And then we're going to reach out to the community, and then they're going to decide on how the structure of the committee itself exists.
I'll second that. Second.
Okay, Bill.
Second.
I have a motion made and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Ms. Jones, can you give council an update of where we stand on the municipal bids for the sale of surplus equipment?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine.
Okay, perfect. So thanks to Lieutenant Pretty for the assistance of getting these vehicles on Municipid. We placed these items, these vehicles on Municipid 2 weeks ago. We then pulled them as of this past Friday so we could have everything updated for the agenda for this evening. We'd like to make the motion to approve the sale of the 3 police vehicles from Municipid. A 2017 Dodge Charger, which the final bid was $3,500. The 2010 Ford Crown Vic for $1,750. The 2007 Ford Crown Vic for $1,509. And then the 1987 Han Fire Truck for $3,000.
You can get more for that fire truck.
You could scrap that fire truck and get more than that.
I believe the last time a fire truck was sold, the record showed we got 2,700. So it's up to you guys. We can put it back out there, but 2 weeks, this is what we got. I'm not sure why these all have been sitting around for so long, but I know when Lieutenant Pretty was saying that we could scrap them, they were thinking that they would only get $200 for each car. So making out.
No, I'm not talking about the police cars. The fire truck, you can scrap that and get more for it than $3,000.
So it's up to council. I can certainly pull it and say that council did not agree to it and scrap it. Do you have confirmation?
You can also reach out to the Dominican Republic who bought the last one, and they paid more than $2,700 for it.
Nah, they paid $2,700, Karen.
I don't know.
It was less than $3,000 for that 1979 Han.
What year is this Han?
83, I believe.
Get rid of it.
87.
I'll make a motion to approve the sales.
I have a motion on the table. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion made and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
No.
I have a no from Ms. Gross. A no from Mr. Signa. Ms. Reeves?
No.
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 Any other no's? Motion passes 4 to 3. Mr. Signa?
Yes.
I agree with you in the fact that it's important for this municipality to have a health inspector.
Yes.
I did not realize that Mr. Vicente was voted out at the January meeting. It must have been an error on my part since January was full of activity.
Yes.
But if you would like to make a motion to appoint Mr. Vicente as the health inspector, I'll allow you to make that motion.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to reinstate Mike Pizzetti as health inspector for the Borough of Eddystone.
Second.
I have a motion made and second. Any questions about the motion that's being put on the table? Not hearing any. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Any other business that needs to be taken care of in front of council this evening?
Bill, can I ask the chief a question before we hang up?
Sure.
Ed, are you on?
Yes.
The SAFER grant. Okay, I asked about the benefits for the SAFER grant, but is the SAFER grant to cover full-time salaries?
The SAFER grant can cover any addition to the staffing we have, and it's based upon the position, not the number of staffing personnel that we have. The other part of the SAFER grant is recruitment and retention of volunteer firefighters. The intention of the plan is to write for both sections of the grant. One, to help retain and recruit new volunteer members to subsidize the fire department. The other phase of the grant is to kind of help offset the salary portion of the grant.
Okay, well, didn't we check into this before?
We did check into it before, but the staffing level has increased a little bit over there. And with the criteria that came out, some of the things changed in the guidelines for the SAFER grant. And it's out there. We can apply for it and try. There's no meaning that we're going to get it, whether we get both sections, no sections, or one section, who knows? It's just a matter of submitting the application. Borough Council can decide once we get approved, if we were to get approved, Borough Council can then make a decision as to what they want to accept the terms of the grant or not.
Okay, but we won't have to pay the benefits.
No, that's not correct. You're getting a reimbursement based upon the salary. It's 75% for the first year, and I believe it's 30. I don't have the paper in front of me. I think it's 35% for the next 2 years for the course of a 3-year SAFER grant.
Chief, can I hop in there real quick?
Yes.
It was 75% for the first 2 years and 35% for the third.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And is that through the fire company or through the borough?
It'll be written through the municipality. But once again, if we get awarded the grant, council has to take action to accept it. It's just a matter of submitting the paperwork to see if we would even be eligible for the funding.
Okay. All right, thanks, Ed.
Mm-hmm.
Council President?
I think we have a motion on the table, correct?
Second.
Or no? We're done, correct?
We're
Is there
done.
Any other action that needs to be taken?
Council President Stewart, just to remind everyone, there are no health inspections being done since the state is basically shut down. Keeping in the loop with Ben, he has reminded me, just like our building code inspector from the state, they have pushed everything off until June. So therefore, moving forward, both the gentleman that's been in contact with Ben or Matt, and then Ben, who's been in contact with me, there was nothing moving forward on health inspections as of today.
Okay. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Stewart, can I? Oh.
Oh, that's right. Lisa wanted to say something.
I had one other thing, and it's just a point because I got an email today. Mary Bethda from the Chester Pike Task Force. We talked about that last month. I believe it got tabled. I don't know whether you're interested or not, but they're moving forward with another grant application, and the county planning department is also doing their study. In order to participate, we have to have all of the various proposed projects in. It's just a wish list. So that needs to be done prior to their meeting in 2 weeks. So I don't know what council's pleasure is, but I did want to mention it so that if you are interested in participating with this group, then you would need to move forward.
What was
Dawn, what was the cost of participation again?
It was in the email that was distributed from the Chester Pike Task Force.
I believe it was $1,200.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
But anyway, I just wanted to mention it before we leave because it is something that not that you couldn't join later, but if there's specific projects that we want to get done along Chester Pike, county's already starting to evaluate some of those projects, get them on a list. They've also, each municipality's already put a letter of support in for the MAC grant
Lisa?
program.
Now, not to belabor this, but what again is the $1,200 for from each community?
The $1,200, and Mary had sent a second email because I didn't know what it was. I know it was to start up the, we've done a 501c
But the nonprofit still
organization.
costs $1,200. And then how many communities are involved?
No, wait, Rob, let me finish.
Let her finish.
You've asked a question, let me finish what the answer is. From
Sorry
what
about that.
Mary says, it's not only just to start it, it was also for insurance and other costs that are involved with that organization. So right now they've already set up a board. And with that, there's insurance costs that are bonding, as well as the legal fees that were taken to get that program started, to get that organization started. I don't disagree with you. I did a 501c3 for a trust that we have, but according to them, this was all done in Camp Hill. I don't have the bills. Mary did do an email, and I believe it went out to everyone. Maybe we can recirculate that so you can see what those costs were utilized for. But each one of the 5 municipalities that are currently there have paid that fee.
Just to enlighten you, going to this first meeting, this has been going on for a while. I was very impressed with all of these townships and local boroughs pulling this all together. And obviously, we don't want Eddystone to be left out of this revitalization. So they were very happy to see Eddystone was finally interested in this. So it's something that we definitely, I hope, can take part of.
Yeah, maybe we should have paid $1,400 in insurance.
Well, how far are we talking about? We're talking from the bridge on Chester Pike
to the bridge.
Yeah. So what's that? A mile?
Not even.
Not even a mile.
We're already kind of like set up over there, aren't we?
Yeah, we got
right, exactly.
and all the places set up across there, and then we got Walmart, and we got,
And we can always join later, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I assume so.
I recommend we wait.
Yeah, I don't see value in it.
All right. So what I'm going to ask you then is to please let Mary know, because she's still kind of up. She wasn't sure where things were. So just if we can advise her that we're going to hold off for a while. That'd be great.
Right.
Good job, Lisa.
Good job, Lisa. Thanks.
Thank you.
I have a question. Can I direct a question to Dawn? Dawn, can you make sure that when you send emails out that you email all of council and not just so that we're all getting the information?
So the Mayor Reeves actually already brought that up to me this morning, Karen, and I have directed it to both the council president and Peter Amuso. So as long as it comes from the council president and all of the council that they want everyone included, I have no problem doing so.
Well, you work at the pleasure of all of council.
Correct.
We're on council.
Correct. So there are a few others that work at the pleasure of council as well. So if it's a financial situation and Chris Sprague would like me to share it with all of council, I have no problem doing so.
Well, it's like the insurance, Karen. We didn't know nothing about that either.
You know what? That's okay, Stan. It'll get reported too, because I'm not playing this bullshit.
Me neither.
Make a motion for the meeting to be adjourned.
I will make sure that the information that's coming out of the manager's office is disseminated to all of council.
It should be.
Appropriately.
It should be.
It hasn't been, Bill, and I know that there's stuff being taken out of council as well. It's got to stop.
I got a motion on the table to adjourn. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.